Whenever you're ready.
And here we go. We're live. We're not live. I guess we're recording.
Yeah.
Different area, different spot.
That's a different. Yes, it is.
We tramped out of the studio, which we normally are, and decided to come over here, make it a little closer for Darin. He came over here from Boise, so
Yep.
Appreciate you coming down.
yeah.
Yeah, it's a nice spot down here on the river, man.
Yeah,
Cool.
it's nice and quiet down here. We
Yeah.
like it down here a lot.
Thanks for
No
having
neighbors.
me.
Thanks
Yeah.
for coming and making the trip and everything. You brought your dog.
Yep.
He's here.
She.
Yeah.
She, right? Yeah. So, I met Darin. I don't even know if Darin remembers. It was at an archery shoot back in the 90s. And a couple things I remember in that shoot. Of course, you were shooting for Hoyt at the time. I think you were still living in Utah. And my son broke your arrow. They were those ACEs, which are really expensive arrows.
Yeah, back then they were
Yeah. And those
about the most expensive thing out there.
They were, yeah, and they were the shit for arrows, I remember. But my son thought it was cool we hit your arrow, and I'm thinking, dude, I don't know how much they were worth, but I'm thinking, that was an expensive arrow.
That's funny.
But you're working for Hoyt at the time, huh?
If it
You
was
were.
late 90s,
No, it could have been, more late.
yeah, if it was after 99, I would have been working for Hoyt. So
Okay.
sometime during 99, early
Might have been
99, I
around
think
then.
is when I started with Hoyt. So
Okay. Yeah, tell us about yourself. Before we get to that, John.
Yes.
We usually do, how's it going? Then talk a little bit, I'm sorry.
We jump forward. It's okay. We were excited to get going, so.
Yeah, we
It
were.
is what it is. But I will say this, we were recording in Daryl's new addition to his house. It's his new game room, and we'll take some footage and show you guys, but it has turned out amazing.
yeah, it's impressive. Heck
Almost
of a
done,
collection.
not quite.
Nice collection.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, it's a
It's
great.
great.
So anyway, it's kind of fun.
Yeah.
First time I've got to see it finished, so, or
Yeah,
almost finished.
Almost finished.
Yeah.
Got a little bit of flooring left,
Yeah, looks good.
but yeah, Darin Cooper came down from Boise, and he's got a business that he started. How many years ago has it been now?
I think we started, I guess it would have been right in 2020 when right about the time the pandemic kicked off. That's when we decided it was a perfect time to start a business.
Right?
But it's probably worked for us and against us in many ways. I'm not going to complain. It's, it's gone well. Yeah, it's been a challenge, but it's been a heck of a lot of fun too. We've helped out a ton of, hunters be successful on their hunts, and that's super gratifying. And, I just love sharing in other people's success. I've kind of made a big part of my career has been helping other people, get better at shooting or, hunting. And this is just kind of another extension of that, and, helping people out with gear. So.
Were you born in Idaho then? or-
I was born in Boise, went up to University of Idaho for college, came back, went to work for an engineering firm in Boise, Morrison Knudsen. I remember them.
Yeah.
Back in the day, they were one of the, the giants in the United States for engineering, and they got gobbled up and, some mergers and acquisitions and stuff. But anyway, that same time, mid 90s, late 90s, I started shooting professionally, and got an opportunity actually at a tournament. Got flighted with a Hoyt engineer on the second day of it was an indoor tournament in Boise, and Mark Yardage deal, and I was leading the tournament, and he ended up on the top target too. And I jokingly asked him, I had a degree in chemical engineering, was what my degree was in.
Oh.
And jokingly asked him, hey, you need any chemical engineers down there at Hoyt? And he said, you know what? I don't really care what discipline of engineering is, but you need to have a PhD in archery, and I think you should probably send me a resume. And I was like, you'll have that resume before you get back to Salt Lake City. And so I actually interviewed with them. And
Were you already you said you were shooting professionally at that time?
Yeah, I was, yeah.
And sponsored by Hoyt?
Actually, I was shooting a PSE at the time. I
Okay.
had just switched, I think, from Hoyt to PSE. And yeah, that was about probably 6 months into the PSE experiment. And yeah, anyway, ended up interviewing with them, and they were actually looking for an engineering manager, and I was pretty young at the time. I think I was probably only 24, maybe 25. And I had some experience, but probably not enough experience to manage an engineering team right off the bat in a, field I hadn't, didn't have any experience in the actual, manufacturing of archery equipment. So they gave the job to somebody else. He lasted about 6 months. They got rid of him, and Jason Fogg, the guy that I was talking to at the time,
I remember him.
called me back and said, hey, let's do an interview down in Vegas. And I think I shot 2 300s that year, and then like a 97. I think I finished 19th at Vegas that year.
Nice.
Which didn't hurt,
Yeah.
I do that at the tournament when I'm having an interview with Randy Walk and Jason, and shortly thereafter, they hired me, because that would have been February, and then I think I moved down there in like April or something like that. So, yeah. So yeah, worked for Wade for about 10 years designing archery equipment. Have 5 patents down there. I designed and developed the cam and a half. That was kind of the big one, which really was also the binary system. So kind of the 2 biggest things in cam since the one cam came out. And then, started writing for some of the magazines, Eastman's, Western Hunter.
But you're still part of Western Hunter now, or?
I haven't been writing for him since I started the rent outdoor gear business.
Okay.
So I talked to Chris and the crew, and was like, hey man, I'm gonna have to put all my focus into this business for a while. So I just kind of like, I'm gonna take a hiatus. Maybe, I really enjoy the writing and sharing knowledge and stuff with people. So.
Did you ever get to hunt down there in AZ with Chris?
No, I haven't. I'd love to get down and hunt some coos with him.
Yeah, he's kind of got me hooked on the coos thing.
Yeah,
years ago.
they're fun, man.
They are.
Yeah, I'd love to. I've hunted mule deer in Arizona. I think that's the only thing I've hunted down there.
No elk, huh?
No, I haven't
You put
drawn. I will draw a tag in Arizona as soon as I feel like drawing a tag in Arizona. I have 25 points, I think. So I cashed in 25 points in Utah this year. So
I remember you saying that,
I've got some really good elk tags lined up coming down the road. So
nice.
it'll be fun. Yeah. But anyway, it's so I've kind of taken a break from the writing thing, but I've done stuff with Rockslide as well, kind of helped get that thing off the ground. I was an editor for them with all their online content for quite a while. So I've been around the block and, worked with a lot of good writers and all that kind of stuff. And then, back to Rent Outdoor Gear, started that in 2020. And, we've been, doubling and tripling pretty much annually.
So maybe explain the whole concept, since for the people that don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. So basically what we do is rent high-end hunting gear. So if you are coming from the Midwest to hunt, Idaho or Colorado or wherever, you can get on our website, look up different gear from optics, tripods, backpacks, sleeping bags, thermal optics. There's a ton of stuff. The expensive stuff that both take a lot of research in order to figure out the right stuff, and as well as it's a big pocketbook hit usually.
Oh yeah,
it's a big financial commitment.
Especially for optics I remember that was a key thing I saw.
Yeah.
Where a lot of guys out in the Midwest and the East, they don't need really higher end optics to hunt out of a tree stand, because it's so dense.
Yeah.
But you come out here where it's pretty critical, that makes, and putting the money out. Like so.
Absolutely. So for those guys, it can really make sense because they're probably only doing one Western hunt a year. And I personally think it makes a lot more sense to rent, some of those items, because by the time you would have spent enough to pay them off, you'll be 3 or 4 generations of new stuff down
true.
the line, and you haven't, whatever you bought is now worth, a third or half at best of what it used to be when you bought it. Whereas you don't have to deal with that depreciation. If you rent from us, you always get the latest, greatest, badass tent, backpack, sleep, whatever, optic, rangefinder.
And for the guys flying too, there's a lot of people that fly out here.
Yeah. So we can actually ship the stuff to your destination, if you're going with an outfitter or something like that, or if you're going to stay at a hotel and somewhere, or, you can pick it up locally. We have a lot of guys that fly through Boise on their way to hunting, and so you can pick it up locally at our shop in Boise. So, but yeah, typically we send it right to you. It also comes, the item, whatever you rent, will come with a prepaid return label. So when you're done, you just put the new sticky label over the old one, tape the box back up, and it ships right back to us. So none of that shipping stuff is a hassle for you. You just drop it off with FedEx or UPS. And then the other thing that people always ask is, all right, well, what dates do I do? Do I need to, you just book it for the date that you want it to show up, which is typically the day before you're leaving, because UPS or FedEx, sometimes they come later in the afternoon and you don't want to be sitting there waiting on the porch for that guy to show up. And then you book it through the day that you're going to drop it back off with UPS or FedEx during business hours. Most of our boxes won't fit in their drop off, overnight things. So, and it's always better to get a receipt when you're dropping that stuff off anyway. That way you've got proof that the guy behind the counter didn't just shove that in his backpack and, inherited a brand new pair of binoculars. So if you've got that receipt, at least I know that you dropped it off, and then I can blame them if it doesn't show up, so. But it's a slick system. We've got a ton of happy customers. Like I said, we've helped a lot of people just make the most out of their hunts, and that's a lot of fun to see. And I just feel like we have a great service. It's helping people out.
Yeah, I mean, is your like all your optics? Do you kind of lean towards certain brands?
Yeah, we've got some favorite brands that we kind of stick to. We've got a fairly broad range. We test and try out a lot of stuff, but
and according to price, that's what I was
yeah,
thinking.
we try to cover a range of prices, because we know, even though you're renting the stuff, it can get pretty expensive depending on what you're getting. So we do cover from Swarovski down to kind of the mid-range stuff with Vortex, and they've got some really nice higher end stuff as well. But
to me, huh?
oh yeah, Mocha's joining the conversation. So. But yeah, we try to cover a range so that we know that some guys are on a much tighter budget than others, and so we try to have really good products throughout that price range. So, and the thing is, I will personally stake my name and hang my hat on any of the stuff that's on our product line. Like if it's not good, you won't find it on our website. I don't even carry everything that like Swarovski makes. Like there's stuff that I think is best of the best in the Swarovski lineup, and then there's stuff that I just, I wouldn't use. I think there's better options. So, so we just kind of have a curated, gear selection that.
It's way easier to, when I say sell it, not really even you're selling it, but just if it's something that you've used it out in the field, you can look them in the eye and give your honest opinion.
Yeah, I can say I've used this next to this, and this is how those two compare. This is what this does well. This is what this does well, and all of my, my main guy that runs my warehouse and is shipping stuff out on a day-to-day basis. He takes all this stuff out too, and is very, very knowledgeable about what works good. What tripod pairs with which scopes the best, and it's all of those little nuances that I think we can really help guys out too, and get on the phone if you're not sure what to rent. We have some really good reviews. I've written some really good write-ups on a lot of that equipment. But yeah, definitely if you're not 100% sure, get on the phone, tell us what hunt you're doing. Chances are we've probably done that hunt or something really similar, or we can definitely give you some good information as to how that stuff's going to stack up, and best selections. for the terrain and species you're hunting.
Yeah. Do you do much competitive shooting still then?
I don't do much anymore. I went, I was a little burned out from archery for a while, and so I actually got into competitive long range shooting.
Oh.
I had pretty good success with that too. I shot some PRS. I actually almost won a national championship in long range 22.
Wow.
One stinking point,
Oh,
and my trigger failed on the last target. I had a pretty big lead going into last target, and it was an easy target. And every time I would run the bolt back, it would stick, and I would have to take the rifle down, beat the bolt closed, shut it, and it was the only like really critical speed stage, and it just I missed one too many. One more shot, one more impact, and I would have won by 9 points, but that's neither here nor there. But so, hey, come here. Good
You want to introduce your dog?
This is Mocha. She is a German hunting terrier, or a yak terrier. She's my tracking dog. She bow hunts with me, and she makes sure that we track down everything we poke a hole in.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Now, you used to actually kind of had a service doing that too, didn't you?
Yeah, the last dog I actually registered on the United Blood Trackers, so I would get quite a few calls from guys throughout the year that I couldn't help them all out, but we would go help when we could. Charge people to come out and track stuff for them, track bears and deer and antelope and all kinds of stuff.
That's cool.
Yeah, close to 50 animals with the last one. She's gonna be 2 here later this month, and she's probably tracked about 10 or 12 animals is all.
So when you, I don't really want to jump off the subject too much, but it's fascinating. When you shoot, what's her reaction? Like,
So this one,
because she's been right by you.
yeah,
right?
so this is my second one that I've had. This one will just, like, she usually knows there's something there. I mean, I shot a buck last year with her by my side. It was a nice mule deer buck. He was probably 35 yards, 32 yards away. She knew he was there, but we were in deep sage, so she couldn't see him. So she was looking at him. When I shot, she just stayed. My last one, when I shot, she would typically bolt after him, which wasn't good. I was trying to break her on that with the shot collar, and then I usually do have a hot collar on them just to head off anything, because you just never know what's going to jump out. And these dogs have a tremendous chase drive, so if something runs, man, it's on. So, but she's much more likely to just stay tight and be quiet.
How about elk? Have you had them by when you're elk?
Oh yeah, we've shot several bulls that we called in to close range, and my last dog would get pretty excited, and when they would come in close and bugle, she would usually, she'd be just vibrating and shaking, and then pretty soon her mouth would open and she'd start panting, and I'd have to reach over and shut her mouth. Come on, that's a little too much noise. So yeah, usually whoever the caller was would usually have the dog in their lap, so they could kind of manage that little bit of noise and stuff. But hey, no, you can't get those sheds. Get down. They also like to hunt sheds.
Do they?
Yeah, pretty good at that stuff. So
Yeah, they're cool looking.
but yeah, they're a lot of fun. It's a challenge. You got to spend some time with them. I'm sure at some point, there's going to be an instance where they might cost you an opportunity, but they're also very helpful.
Yeah.
They're out there and their ears are working and their nose is working and all that kind of stuff. I have her on a leash when we're tracking.
Oh, I was going to ask you.
A lot of states require them to be on a leash. You'd never keep up with them in the field. I mean, they can smell them and go on that trail so fast compared to what you can see the blood. You'd never have a chance of keeping up with them. So she's always in a harness and on a leash when we start tracking.
That's pretty cool.
So
That is really cool.
yeah, they're a lot of fun.
Yeah. Didn't mean to jump back, but like I said, I kind of
No, it's
jumped
all
up
good.
here. The website for your outdoor.
Is rentoutdoorgear.com.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had another gentleman, and I actually turned him on to your website or to your number. I may have sent him your number even, because he does like a scouting service type thing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's even for people who have friends coming out. that type
Yeah,
of
it's a
thing, too.
great thing. I thought about doing something similar to that probably 20 years ago.
Yeah. No, you're probably too busy to do. What's your regular day job? You have a regular day job?
Yeah,
as
so I've moved back to Idaho. My wife and I bought a business in 2007 roughly, and she stayed up. She moved back to Boise and started running that. Riley's Church Supply and Christian Bookstore in Boise on Vista Avenue. So she moved back and started running that, and for about 18 months. And once we knew that was going to work, I wasn't going to leave my dream job down there and wait until we knew that business was going to go. But it's worked out great. She's still doing that. And then I moved up and started working for her dad as he has a big electrical contracting company, Lee Electric. And so we do hospitals and airport and big apartment stuff.
A lot of close commercial type.
Yeah, big commercial, food processing, stuff like that. So I do project management for that business. So a little bit of design work here and there, and CAD and 3D modeling, a little bit of everything. But
Yeah. And then do this in the evenings and weekends and
yeah, I've got a guy that works for me full time that kind of runs that business, and then
you don't have a partner with this?
I do have a partner.
Oh.
Yeah, Dan Henderson, actually a good friend of mine from college. He was getting into archery pretty seriously and ran across one of my articles. I hadn't talked to him in 15 or 20 years prior to that, and he looked me up and he's like, "Hey man, I ran across one of your articles, and let's have coffee." And so I started helping him out with his bow and stuff, and I had this idea kind of swimming around in my head. Well, fortunately, Dan had some pretty good experience in startups, had started a couple of companies and had really good success, and kind of been through that, had some key pieces of team that we needed as far as like a developer to really work on that website, because we really spent a lot of time dialing that in so that there's a system behind the scenes in there that tracks that gear and knows where it's at and when it's coming and how long we can rent it and how long it's going to take to get there and back, and it's very complex. And I wrote a lot of the algorithms to it, and then was able to hand the pricing and all that kind of stuff, and then handed that over to the guy, and then he made it all work into a functional website. And so
because virtually everything's over the internet.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, we can book it over the phone if we have to, or we can send you a cart with a checkout or whatever, but it's so simple to shop and do it on your own. I mean, once you plug in your dates for your hunt, you throw one item in your cart, everything else you look at is going to have those same dates, and it's going to tell you instantly how much that 7-day period is going to take you and whether or not it's going to be available or not.
That's
So
cool.
it's I'm pretty proud of the website and how well it works. And
So no brick and mortar though? I mean,
we do actually now. We have a brick and mortar shop in Boise on Vista Avenue, about 2 miles from the airport. So so if you're flying through Boise
that's perfect.
on the way to your hunt, you can swing in and hit us during business hours. If you're going to be after hours, a lot of times we can run down the shop and meet you too. So come here, scoot over.
And that's where you warehouse all the supplies?
Yeah, we've got a warehouse there. So my wife's business is right next door. We were working out her basement for quite a while and didn't have that storefront presence, but we still had people come in and rent, pick up gear there locally. So now the space next door opened up, and we went ahead and leased that out, and got new flooring and paint and all that stuff. It looks pretty nice.
Has that been something recently you did?
Yeah. I'm gonna try to do a grand opening this month if we can get around to it. And,
this is a good time.
Kind of have a kickoff right before hunts.
Right.
Yeah,
Perfect timing.
Yeah, and I mean, it's now's the time too to book with you guys. Are you getting pretty dang booked?
Some stuff is getting pretty tight already. So yeah, if you're looking to get your gear, book it early, man, because especially if the later it gets in, like the end of October, like our hot tents and stuff like that with the titanium stoves and the teepees. And that stuff books up. Our big optics get really popular in rifle season.
Do you have many people from locally that do rent?
We do. And one of the reasons is it's not just about rental. We sell all of our gear too. And it is an awesome way to go take something out and try it.
Oh.
Make sure you love it.
So you're a dealer
invest.
for everything that
Yeah,
you got? Gotcha.
we're full line dealers for Vortex, Swarovski, all the Seek Outside. We've got a bunch of Kuiu stuff. Exo Mountain Gear packs. But a lot of stuff. There's, we have access to a ton of different gear. And so we will give you up to 7 days of your rental, 100% back toward purchase.
Gotcha.
So if you spend, $300 on a 10-day rental on a really nice, high-end spotting scope, a Kawa or Swarovski or something like that, we'll give you, almost all of that money back toward a purchase if you decide I gotta have this thing.
Yeah.
The other thing that's really cool is if you're like, I don't know if I want a Swarovski or if I want this Kawa, rent them both for a 3-day weekend, and I'll give you both rentals toward whichever one you pick.
Gotcha.
Oh.
So it's a, head to head, you're always going to make the right choice.
Yeah.
If you can take advantage of that opportunity.
Yeah.
You can do it with backpacks,
wow.
whatever, tents, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It's a really cool way. Nobody else does that.
Yeah.
Nobody else.
Is there even anybody even does anything like this? I've never known anybody.
No. So we're
It's
the
a
only-
lot of it.
come here.
Obviously, it's got to be a lot of expense to buy all this stuff.
Oh yeah,
So
it's a massive upfront expense, and that limits our ability to grow fast, just because it is such a a chunk to invest in all this stuff. So we kind of grow as we can. Screw it over. Jeez, there's so much cool stuff in here.
Yeah,
Carol,
it's
she can't hang out with us.
Can't help herself.
She's a good dog, good, well-behaved dog, just checking things out. Well, come on up.
I'd rather hang out with you, I think.
Do you have kids and?
I do. I got one daughter, and she actually works for my wife.
Huh?
So
Nice. Does she hunt?
in the
Or
family
does your wife
business.
hunt?
No, wife and daughter don't hunt. My daughter is a phenomenal, prodigy archer, but she has no desire to compete.
Really?
But she can pick up a bow and a hinge release and shoot 10s from 40 yards away if she hasn't touched her bow in 5 years. And I mean, it's
Oh, one of those that
unbelievable.
makes you sick? Or
Yeah.
most people sick?
It's like, oh my God, kid, if you had any inkling of of
The
want,
gift you possess.
yeah, it's like you would be so dominant. But
Yeah.
yeah,
And you are, I was telling John, we were talking earlier, I says, I've kind of followed you, especially since social media, but, in your articles, throughout the years, but you've always been quite a successful archer from,
I've had some success for
Yeah.
sure in the hunting, and won some tournaments and stuff too.
Yeah.
Won Reading twice.
Oh, nice.
With the team event. I've had some top 10s and big indoor tournaments, indoor nationals, NFAA, Vegas, stuff like that. But haven't been able to seal the deal on any of those, and actually win one of the indoor tournaments. It's a tough
Yeah.
crucible, man, mentally.
It is.
To finish one of those off. But World Field Team, the U.S. team in 2006, I think, with Dave Cousins and John Dudley. We went and shot the World Championships in Sweden. And,
Wow.
Nice.
but yeah, it's been fun.
Good run so far, staying in the hunting industry and.
Yeah, and this being able to start up Rent Outdoor Gear kind of helps extend that legacy and keep me involved in the hunting industry, which I was really starting to miss.
Yeah.
It's working for an electrical contractor is kind of like having a real job.
Right.
So I was definitely missing the that camaraderie and that common thread that you have with
Sure.
the hunting community.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. And even shooting competition, you're always around
so many good people.
like-minded people. And,
Yeah, so many good people, good
Yeah.
friends and stuff like that. I miss that. I don't know. I've had some hunger pangs to get back into the competitive archery deal. I started shooting a little bit this year and got a new target bow.
Oh,
But
indoor?
yeah, but just didn't have the time and I don't know, maybe next year. But I got started, so I do miss it. I do.
You
miss
still
it.
shoot for Hoyt too, right?
Yeah. My hunting partner is Zach Kurtzels, who's now the president at Hoyt.
Oh,
So,
okay.
he and I will be hunting elk together this year.
Oh,
Probably
did you guys both get the
Yeah, we
tag?
both drew the tag. So he had enough points as a resident, and then I thought, just looking at the odds, there was a really high chance that I would draw it. So we went ahead and put in at the same time. May regret later, I don't know. It's nice when you can focus on a hunt like that. It's really nice to be able to focus on one guy, but we're also going guided, so
Are you?
Okay.
so we'll have some assistance there.
Yeah.
The first part of the hunt will be mostly ambushing because it starts so early in August 23rd.
Yeah.
So
Is water
later-
an option to hunt over water?
There's so much water in that
Is there?
unit. It's not going to do you much good. I mean, we will probably hunt and buy some wallows and stuff just because those are kind of signposts where the the elk are going to travel by.
Yeah.
But it's more about, I don't know, hunting the haunts that they kind of pre-rut hang out in, and as soon as they start shedding that velvet, kind of the rub lines that they work, and it's almost whitetail tactics
Yeah,
in
it
that
is.
early season.
Yeah.
And the guy that I'm going with is very keen on patterning them and killing
It's
them early.
amazing how much they are as a whole, even though it might change a little bit, but elk can kind of run the same pattern unless they're really bumped enough to move them enough. But,
Yeah.
I learned that years ago, and what a difference it made when I realized, oh shit, I've been seeing those, in the same spot, just making a vicious circle, I called it, and unless they're bumped out of there.
Yeah, his theory is that they're much more predictable pre-rut, and then once the rut's on, he's like, all bets are off. They can go chase whatever hot cow, or if they get bumped by another bull, they're gonna be a ridge over, 2 ridges over, and end up wherever the best breeding action is at at any given time. They're a little less predictable, but they still do have their favorite rut haunts from year to year. So it's just a little tougher to pin them down if you're trying to kill a specific bull.
Right.
That's kind of where we're at. He's got 7 bulls that he knows are alive and are on the hit list, so
Yeah.
we're gonna try to pick one of those guys off.
Nice.
So
How long is that season?
it runs just shy of a month, so it runs to September 19th. They gave us a little extra on the end of the season, which is nice.
So
That'll do some good.
Idaho happens great. If it doesn't,
Yeah,
the focus is
yeah.
there.
I probably won't get to hunt Idaho this year, unless we both kill out early. 'Cause
Yeah.
even if I do kill early, I'll be back down there to help him during the rut. So I'll call bulls for him. And then I hit the lottery this year. I also drew a desert sheep tag in Nevada, so
Nice.
and a really good one.
Are you gonna archery hunt that?
I'm gonna bow hunt that. If it comes down to it, I'll break out the rifle. I'm not gonna eat that tag because I'll never draw it again. So,
Yeah.
but I think it's very bow huntable.
Have you shot a sheep with your bow yet?
I have. I shot a doll sheep in Alaska with my
Oh,
bow.
that's right. I do
Yeah.
remember that. Did an article on that one, huh?
Yeah, I probably published some photos and stuff of them. I don't know if I ever did an article on
It
the
seems
hunt
like I remember
itself,
seeing
but-
you in picture with.
I did one on a mountain goat hunt. I did for sure, but yeah, that picture's been around a little bit. It was cool photos. But and I killed a Rocky in Idaho with a rifle on the second to last day of the season up there. But yeah, one sheep down with a bow. Maybe desert sheep, knock that one out. Then gosh, a
from there.
guy starts thinking about you gotta
mortgage
close
your
the loop.
house and go
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
stone.
Get a stone, yeah. I'm gonna win that tag.
Oh yeah, you can. You can. I've got a buddy that did.
Just tell my wife that I'm gonna win it.
Yeah. Oh. Actually, I had a buddy that won it at the
Yeah, it
this
happens.
show in Utah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a pretty good one to win.
Yeah, no, that's about all I apply for. I knew eventually I would probably get a desert sheep tag, and probably in Nevada. However, I was applying expecting to get like the easiest hunt, the worst hunt in the state was what I was,
Yeah.
applying for, because I just wanted the opportunity.
Right.
Well, the way Nevada does their system, which I think is really dumb, but you get 5 choices and they go through all
Yeah.
5 of them before they go to the next person. Well, I must have drawn a killer number because they took my first choice. And even with 23 or 24 bonus points, I was like 1 in 200 odds
Really?
to draw that. So pretty dang lucky.
That's awesome.
Yeah, pretty dang lucky. So I'm really fortunate to have a good hunt that should have high numbers of rams and some pretty good rams. Although it's kind of off its historical peak where they were killing some really nice ones, but should be able to kill a nice ram.
How many tags are in there?
I think it's one of the units that probably has the most tags, but I couldn't tell you how many right off the top of my head. I want to say there's 30 something tags in that unit.
Oh, wow.
So there's a ton of sheep. I mean, when I started scouting on Google Earth, every little mountain range on there is just zigzag with sheep trails.
Oh.
It's like, wow. They're everywhere. So, and I've talked to a couple of guys that have hunted it, and
Are you
they've
going
been,
guided on that?
I think I'm gonna do it DIY. Yeah, I don't know.
Take
My
some
wife
buddies.
would
Yeah.
be okay with dropping another. I'm not even gonna say how much.
Yeah,
on camera.
don't even throw a number out there.
She doesn't need to know that stuff.
You won that too, huh?
They're guiding me for free, baby.
I read one of my articles 10 years ago. And
He thought my picture would look good on his website.
what is one of your most, probably got a handful of memorable hunts, but
Wow. Geez, man. There's been a lot of good ones. My favorite species to hunt is elk.
yeah.
I mean, I'm just gonna start there. That's, when that's good, there's nothing like,
Yeah.
bulls screaming, and you get in a rut fest, and, I've had some really good elk hunts with help some buddies kill some big bulls.
Which is a lot of times as fun, if not
It
more
is.
fun.
I
when-
love calling them in for my friends
Yeah.
and stuff. So that's always really cool. I don't know. I love it all. Elk's my favorite, but some of the sheep hunts. Probably my Idaho sheep hunt is the hardest hunt I've ever done,
Is it?
and arguably the most memorable.
Huh.
That's the first time I've actually broke down and choked up in the field.
Really?
Like guys, and my buddy and I both drew that together, which is another crazy story. But
Wow.
on both of our rams when we killed them, I was moved.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's probably the most memorable.
Very cool.
33 days of
Ooh.
hammering, 200 plus miles of backpacking, and
Wow.
finally got it done.
Ooh.
We killed his ram fairly early, but it was still, a monumental task getting it done. And then, we went on a long dry spell and hadn't seen a ram forever. And then I actually missed a ram with my rifle. My barrel got wet, and I was so crushed. Came back for one last hoorah on the last 4 or 5 days of the season, and then managed to get it done. So I was super fortunate again to make that happen. But yeah, my buddy was across the canyon watching, and I was trying to tell him on the radio that I'd got it, and I couldn't even talk.
Yeah. So, yeah.
It's pretty special.
We've all been there, I think. And I mean, and it's, if you haven't, you're missing out.
Yeah.
Because it's, yeah.
Yeah, that's tough country. It'll humble you.
Yeah.
What's next for you? Just concentrating on your hunt?
Yeah, really that elk hunt's only 3 weeks away, so I've been working pretty hard. I like to ride dirt bikes a lot, and I came off my dirt bike about a month ago and dislocated my left shoulder, and I haven't been able to shoot my bow since. So I've been working rehab super hard because I'm only I don't know, what are we? It's August 4th, 5th.
Okay.
So yeah, my hunt starts in like 18 days. So
You gonna drop
it's coming
down a
around.
little bit?
I'm gonna actually, when I get home today, I'm gonna drop one of my target bows down to 45, which I'm pretty confident I'll be able to draw that based on just what I've been doing. And I think it'll come back pretty quick once I can start shooting.
Yeah.
You know, because it doesn't really hurt at full draw. It's just kind of this in between deal where it's just a little bit of a sharp pain. If I had a big bull in front of me, I would huck it back.
You only got to make it happen once, right?
I could do it. I've just been really careful with it because I didn't want to, set myself back this close to season. So I'm just, I've been working the stretch bands and stuff and doing all kinds of rotator cuff and all that kind of stuff. I was like, dude, I can't believe I did this with a Utah limited entry elk tag in my pocket. So, but hey, man, those dirt bikes are fun.
So some of those bulls.
Yeah, I was 15 miles in the backcountry
when it happened.
When that happened, had a buddy hold on it, and I did the pulling and kind of twisting, and luckily we got it back in the socket, and then I rode out 50 miles. So we had about 5 miles more trail, and then we were able to take road back the rest of the way, so it wasn't quite as physical. But I don't know, it's healing up pretty good.
That's good. I'm sure you'll be good by then.
Yeah, I'm confident.
At that point, you probably already knew you drew the Utah tag, right?
Oh yeah, I knew I had it. I mean, that was like probably the first thing that went through my mind as I rolling around on the ground going, oh my God, I gotta go hunting in 2 months and this isn't good. And it actually did break part of the bone off as well. But the doctor's like, you're healing really good. She's like, so I don't know.
Really good.
I remember doing construction, up on ladders, and it's getting close to elk season. I'd look at it and go, okay, I got to think of, what's going to happen if I fall. This is going to screw me up.
Yeah, that's what I talk to our guys at work about that all the time because they're on ladders and stuff, and safety's a big deal in the construction world. And like, you guys need to think about your why you're being safe. Is it your, the trip you're taking with your family or your hunting trip that you've got coming up? I mean, it's not worth taking shortcuts on that stuff.
For sure.
And then on the weekend, I'm out there riding a dirt bike like a madman.
Do as I say, not as I do, right?
At least do it having fun, man. Don't do it at work.
Right.
Yeah.
Do it doing something you love.
That's funny.
But, yeah.
Right on. You don't do no more tracking for people?
We're not doing much custom tracking these days. I don't have her registered.
Do you have to in order to do it?
It's a great advertising.
Oh, but legally,
platform.
there's no legal issue.
No, there's no legal deal. It's just, if you're registered with the tracking, they have a good website and can link up hunters with guys by, the right states and all that kind of stuff. But maybe we'll see. I've been probably too busy with the business and everything else lately to do it justice, but when she gets a little more experience, maybe we'll try to help some people out.
Yeah.
Something.
It's nice to have. I've had some unfortunate, ones that I've lost over the years, and man, that's a gut punch. And,
Oh man.
Some of the, wouldn't wish that on anybody.
Yeah.
But so I decided I was going to
Is that the reason why you kind of did it?
It really is, yeah. I lost a bull in Utah. I drew an expo tag in 2009, I think. And I shot an absolute giant. And he stopped, broadside. I chirped at him, broadside, 20 yards, and he had a giant hound, and he took that extra step and had a giant aspen covering up his whole, vitals. And I was like, man, I could just shoot him in the liver. I was like, I'll just wait till he starts walking again. And those big bulls, they cover so much ground, and it just that split second that it took me to shoot when he cleared the tree, hit him too far back. And then he didn't know what happened, and I kept calling and chirping and stuff, and I kept working because I knew I'd, pretty much gut shot him. And he did another loop around, and I saw it. I think I was able to range something ahead of him, and I hucked it back again, and I let him and shot again, and I shot him through the damn guts again twice. Mm-hmm. And if I would have had a tracking dog, it would have been so easy to follow, a bull with two gut wounds. You can't see that gut juice, but that dog can smell it like a yellow brick road. Mm-hmm. And that bull would have been world record. The kid picked him up. He was 418, netted 413.
Wow.
And so that was a pretty easy choice for me to make to get a tracking dog.
Right.
I've never, publicly told that story before, but I talked to the kid about it. I've got it on video. So I'm going to try to get a hold of him and either get those horns back or get some replicas of them.
I think there's a place in Utah that does replicas too.
Yeah, there is. There's one there. And I've had a couple of, ones that, I'd sure like to have back.
Yeah.
I don't know. You learn so much from those situations, but good Lord, do they hurt.
Yeah,
for sure.
Well, hopefully it'll let you get a replica anyway.
He was really good about it. So when we talked, I'm sure he will.
Yeah. Good.
What's their noses compared to like bloodhound type thing? Are they?
They're not. They're not going to track an old cold line like a bloodhound will, but they've got a really good nose. But they're just a really good size and athletic dog that I think lends them well to mountain hunting. I just kind of fell in love with the breed when I started learning about them. A friend of mine actually had one. I was looking at Jack Russells, but I didn't really want to run around with a little white dog in the field that would stand out too much. They're good little tracking dogs too. And then I just, through research, ran into this breed. I think I was reading, there's a book written by John Janene, and it's tracking dogs for tracking deer with dogs, something like that is the title. But anyway, he mentioned Yak Terriers because they were bred very specifically as a hunting breed. It's a German hunting terrier. And, he's like, they're a little high strung, it's a hard breed. And most people that have them really try to vet the people that they're selling the dogs to if they're breeders and whatnot. It just takes a special kind of owner to have one. Anyway, I decided I gotta have one. And a buddy of mine's like, oh, I had one. Like, are you kidding me? And he hooked me up with his breeder and got me on the first one. And, so ever since, I think that was about 10 years ago that I got the first one. So, but they're a great insurance policy to have. They're definitely not for everybody, but it's cool to be able to help out buddies. And then when we go on like a group hunt, I've got a good group of friends. We do a deer hunt every year in Montana, and we'll typically shoot 4 deer on that. And so she gets a lot of work on those. Nice. We get to track them all, and even if they're easy, it's good. And when she was just a pup, she was literally a dash ornament on my buddy's dash, riding around, just a little stumbling, bumbling puppy. I think I'd had her for a week and a half, 2 weeks, and typically you start them out with like a little piece of liver, or a little piece of elk steak or deer steak, on a string and you drag that around on the floor and you make a trail, let them follow it, and then at the end of the trail, you just give them that treat. I couldn't get her to do it at home, and when we were on that trip, my buddy actually got a doe tag too, and he shot this doe, and I took her to she wouldn't follow the trail at first. I took her to the doe. She loved it. She was on that thing, chewing on the ears and licking the nose, and just fell in love with this critter. I took her away from it, and she was like, I want to go back. I put her on that blood trail, and she tracked that sucker right back to that deer at 10 weeks old. And she tracked 4 more deer, 4 more bucks on that hunt. And like the next night,
It clicked.
oh yeah, it clicked. And then like the next night, it was blowing snow sideways, dark. We put her on a blood trail, and she went 200 yards straight to this buck that my buddy shot. Yeah, so I was pretty impressed. And then, so she's been really rock solid ever since that.
Oh,
So
that's cool.
yeah, once they get it, they get it.
Right.
So
That's my job.
yeah, that and fetch, man. Holy smokes.
Yeah.
Now, do you take her with you everywhere at work? and everything?
Yeah, she goes to work with me and hangs out. So with that breed, that's a nice to be able to do that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, because when we kind of talked a little bit before, I kind of wondered if it sounded like it's a breed that you almost have to put that time in and have that bond.
Yeah, I think it's really good just to get them, that social aspect, but also they're a high-strung breed, and so, I'm able to take her out to lunch every day and spend 30 minutes, hucking a frisbee or a ball and, getting her in the water and swimming and stuff, and just burn off some of that puppy youthful energy so that she's not such a train wreck.
I mean, in reality, she's been great. She's checking things out and everything, but I expected potentially she could be like really jumping around. And
Yeah, she's fairly mellow. My last one was too, but I
think a lot of it is you just spend so much time around people.
Yeah, and it just kind of mellows out the highs and lows, I think, of their personality a little bit when they're around you all the time, and it's not like, hey, I've been sitting at home for 10 hours and, my rev limiter's pegged. And,
Yep. I have a German short hair that I trained to shed hunt and stuff. And, same way, super high strung but yeah, we get out in the field and, burning off that energy and whatnot, but he spends a lot of time with me too. Yeah, they're pretty fun.
Fortunately, someone's always kind of between your wife and kids and stuff, somebody's around.
Yeah, and living in the country too, I don't know, he gets to run all the time. And, so I think that helps a lot for sure. Not caged up or anything. So.
Right on. Well, Darin, I know that you got busy things to do, but I really appreciate the time you come down and talk about your business.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I hope we can help out, some of your fans and people that follow you. Love to help you guys out with your gear.
Yeah.
Help you be successful on your hunts, and definitely if you're coming from outside the West, or we can definitely help you get into the right stuff. And then if you're looking to upgrade your gear, I think it's a great way to go to rent it first.
That is a super cool thing. I'd never thought about that before, but that's a great service right there. Do you have social media?
Yeah, we do. We're on Instagram, we're at Rent Outdoor Gear. And then on Facebook, we're at Rent Hunting Gear. So, or search for us, Rent Outdoor Gear, you'll find us.
Sure.
So, cool.
Well, cool. Well, thanks, man. Appreciate it very much.
Appreciate it.
Yeah,
good luck with your
conversation. Good hanging out with you guys.
Yeah.
Thoroughly enjoyed it. Yeah, thanks. I'll have to send you a picture of the bull
Yes.
Nice.
when I tag it.
Yeah.
Get it.
Right.
We'll look forward to it. Appreciate everyone watching, and smash the like button, subscribe button.
All that stuff.
All that fun
Appreciate
stuff.
you guys. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, John.
We'll see you guys.
See you.